Seems like a good place to be.
That's a good stepping stone.
Yeah.
Honestly, there's been a couple players who've been on the brink of BlizzCon as well who are collegiate players. Dude 7597 comes to mind. He was 2 matches away from being in the same position HotMEOWTH was. He's competing in TESPA right now.
Yeah, it's a good system to get introduced into Hearthstone, get introduced into the competitive scene, and work your way to potentially BlizzCon.
Got to start somewhere.
It's the dream.
It's the dream. Wonder what. Wow.
The dream's a nightmare right now.
Yeah,
it looks like.
Pavel looks composed.
Sure,
He's down in the series right now.
More composure though.
It's nothing like the stress of the big stage.
It's very frightening up there. You know, it's a lot of people say, you know, oh, it's so stressful, but it really is. I've been there, and it eats away at you.
It's tough to keep your focus when you can hear a crowd of people.
This one's going to be one that you're going to need to keep the focus on because you need to pretty much know your entire deck list card for card and your opponent's deck list card for card throughout the entire course of the entire game, as this one will likely go down all the way to fatigue. The Cthulhu on Cthulhu. You make one little mistake, one little misjudgment of your opponent's deck list, and it could cost you the entire game.
Yeah, so let's talk about the differences between these two as this one gets set up. Obviously, the first few turns, we're going to see a lot of armor. We're going to see a lot of kind of nonsense going on. HotMEOWTH's got 2 copies of Beckoner of Evil.
Very low value card.
He's got a Fool's Bane.
Pretty low value card for the matchup.
Harrison Jones. He's got 1 copy of Cthulhu's Chosen. That's pretty much the standard afterwards. It's the Justicar, Emperor, Sylvanas. That whole Cthulhu package. Pavel's side's not much different. He's got 1 Beckoner of Evil, but 2 Cthulhu's Chosen.
Yeah, he has 2 Acolyte of Pains, though, which HotMEOWTH only has 1 Acolyte of Pain, which is a completely dead card in the matchup a lot of times.
He's got no Harrison Jones, but he does have a Gorehowl.
Yeah, they're very, very even. The only big difference really is the second Cthulhu's Chosen, which is, you know, just a bigger body for Pavel to have over the potential, you know, weaker body from Pavel's side. HotMEOWTH's side, I'm sorry, of the Harrison Jones, which may never be able to see play and is just a 5/4 instead of a 4/2 Divine Shield, which can oftentimes be a little bit weaker.
Yeah, I mean, card draw can be a liability in this matchup.
Oh, it most definitely almost always is.
Now, that being said, there are a few opportunities to actually tempo your opponent, but those require some very specific board states.
Yeah, if you have the perfect hand, sometimes the tempo swing of, you know, Harrison Jonesing a Gorehowl can just push you into the driver's seat and allow you to just steamroll your opponent. But it doesn't happen too often. But you got to imagine, you know, you look at that, your opponent would spend 7 mana developing a Gorehowl, and if you can develop a minion while removing it and drawing a card, you can definitely see where sometimes you just get enough gas to kill him that way. So it does open some interesting opportunities for HotMEOWTH if he wants to take that risk if it comes up.
Man, we're a long way away.
We're a long way from that.
Buckle in, basically, is the message here.
Yeah.
Now, if it boils down to a fatigue point, which Pavel already breaking,
does not want to go for the fatigue. He wants to be the aggressor in the matchup.
So where does that lead him then? What's the actual game plan when that's taking place?
Well, he wants to make triple Cthulhu. He wants to be able to get the full combo. He wants to be able to discount Cthulhu and either Bran or Doomcaller or Shield Slam, so he can play Cthulhu with enough armor to shield slam his own Cthulhu, then be able to play Bran, Doomcaller, add 2 more Cthulhus to his deck, and then just start power slamming Cthulhus throughout the match.
The one time that the shield slam your own Cthulhu changes is if HotMEOWTH plays Sylvanas first.
Then you don't need to shield slam.
Right. If HotMEOWTH has not played Sylvanas first, that is probably an opportunity for Pavel to just wait, hope to get it. He's already got Cthulhu. This is going to be a weird match.
Yeah, we'll see if HotMEOWTH, you know, he can respond to this by drawing cards of his own, or he can just fully commit to, you know, going for the fatigue plan and just say, you know what, go for your Cthulhu setups. I'll just outlast you, and at the end of the day, I'll be victorious in fatigue. So it'll be interesting to see what kind of approach he takes, if he wants to be off to the races in this matchup or if he wants to play it conservatively. And I think one of the reasons why Pavel is gunning for this kind of aggressive approach and why he's playing the Acolyte of Pain is because he's got that Cthulhu in his hand already. He has the aggressive cards. He's already got the Justicar. He's got the Ancient Shield Bearer. He has so many big things that he can just slam on curve that can be super powerful that going for the the draw actually kind of makes sense with that hand.
Does going second influence this at all either?
Yes,
He's
yes.
already behind a card in terms of a fatigue battle.
Yeah, in the way that fatigue works, if you go second, you're the first player drawing a card while the card counts are even. So technically speaking, you're half a card ahead. So if fatigue hits and you guys are still even and neither player has drawn the entire game, you will still lose in fatigue. So that is also playing a factor into why Pavel is playing this, going for the Acolyte of Pain on 3, being a little bit more aggressive with his line of play, mainly just driven because he's going second.
Justicar out early is also a big deal. I mean, I think it's a combination of the two. The fact that he's going second and the fact that his hand is so strong.
Yeah, just so
Everything's
dense.
spelled out doing it this way. Because the other thing, too, is if he has Justicar early and HotMEOWTH doesn't draw his for a while, drawing that extra card can still be okay in Pavel's spot. He can still win the fatigue battle if the Justicar is late enough for HotMEOWTH.
Yeah. He could potentially Emperor here if he wanted to. He has the discount on the Cthulhu, and he has the coin to be able to still brand Doomcaller.
Wow. Picks up the brand.
Okay. Not too bad of a pickup.
No, that's a great pickup. That's about as good as it gets.
A Cthulhu activator would have been even better. He could have been, you know, playing it this turn and setting up for just on-curve Twin Emperors or something to try and tempo out his opponent. But it's still not bad. He's going to be able to more freely play the Emperor now, and then that'll open up the coin for future usage. He could potentially try and kind of cheese HotMEOWTH out with like an Emperor on the turn 8 and then just Cthulhu the turn after.
Twin Emperors getting dropped for HotMEOWTH here. Is that premature?
It's a pretty good spot to drop it. You want to drop it into a minion. And the reason why you want to drop it into one of your opponent's minions is so that Brawl is a little bit costly for them to do. Otherwise, pretty much every time you drop it, it's super vulnerable to Brawl, and it's the only thing in your deck vulnerable to Brawl. So it just gives a card that's completely useless in the matchup a lot more value than it should have. So even though it looks kind of weird playing it into a 6/3, it's to try and keep a useless card from being useful.
It's very smart. I like it.
Yeah, a little counterintuitive, but I think it's the right line of play.
It's, you know, you've mentioned that multiple times over the past 2 days. Counterintuitive. That is a lot of what high-level Hearthstone's about.
Yeah.
It's these little tiny battles where you don't expect your opponent to make huge mistakes, so you're fighting for every little edge you can get.
Pavel doesn't have the Brawl, doesn't have too many great answers. I have to imagine he plays the Emperor.
He's got to play something or he's just going to burn a card. Go for Ghoul.
Ghoul Execute, getting rid of some chip damage.
I'm curious what Pavel thinks when HotMEOWTH just drops the Twin Emperor into the 6/3. You know, he may not be thinking that he's trying to just fit it in where a Brawl wouldn't be good. He may be reading that as some form of aggression.
That's true, and that could be true. Responding to the aggression here, not giving HotMEOWTH any sort of free trades. But that paves the way for this 6/6 to actually be quite annoying.
Yeah, Ancient Shield Bearer. The armor's important, but it's mostly the 6/6 that's important.
Yeah, the 6/6 pretty good at the current board state.
I'm not sure Pavel anticipated HotMEOWTH playing it quite this way. I think he may have anticipated a slower game.
What now?
His hand is really tough.
He's got so much of the end game value dense minions. It's just a little bit awkward since Cthulhu's not activated yet.
The coin is really important here too.
He's following the line of play that he committed to earlier on turn 3, being the aggressor in the matchup, because he's the one that's drawing currently, and this Tempo Sylvanas could allow him to gain board control, but that is a huge resource getting kind of tossed away here, and HotMEOWTH is now free, once this Sylvanas is dealt with, to play Cthulhu kind of at any time to just be super annoying.
That's a really strong point to make too, is that having Cthulhu being able to be freely played is a major deal.
Yeah.
You know, prior to this, we're talking about the long-term game plan of Pavel making multiple Cthulhus by making sure his dies. HotMEOWTH now can make sure his dies. There's no other way for Pavel to really wrestle control of that. The first appearance of it could spell game over.
Still, just looking at these hands, Pavel has a lot more cast than HotMEOWTH does. He's able to, you know, get that armor knocked back with the Cthulhu, then these shield slams start becoming pretty useless, and that hand from HotMEOWTH kind of crumbles apart.
And you can see he's thinking about playing the Harrison Jones. The Harrison Jones is more slated for the Hunter matchup. It's not really meant to be super effective in this particular one.
I like getting the Emperor Thorstein down here. One of the things I really like about this play is you're just holding the Ancient Shield Bearer, just guaranteeing that no matter what happens, your shield slams are basically going to be active. You can kill things with them.
Yeah, 0 mana shields. The difference between 1 and 0 and 2 to 1 is just such a world of difference. Like Execute going from 2 to 1 instead of 1 to 0 like Shield Slam does.
He's thinking about using the coin here on something. You know, Pavel has the Cthulhu Brand combo. Going second, that's you often are at disadvantage going second because of the fatigue counter, but one of the small advantages you get going second is you can combo Bran and Cthulhu together. If they both get an Emperor discount, Bran will cost 2, Cthulhu will cost 9, and then you can Bran coin Cthulhu to shoot the double missiles. So that is now available to Pavel after this Emperor development.
Is that where he wants to be, though? He's behind on the fatigue race. If the Bran Cthulhu won't end the game.
Yeah, it needs to be a killing blow when he does it, right? It's only 20 damage right now, and I say only because it's a warrior mirror. So it's not quite enough damage to get the job done, but you know, he could potentially get through some chip damage with Twin Emperors and actually get there.
Both Emperor Thorisons prompting action. And that's a second Ancient Shield Bearer. HotMEOWTH at this point. He's doing a good job at kind of keeping this at bay. But eventually he's going to have used so much removal that his hand will just be light, and that might be an opportunity for Pavel to strike with the Brand Cthulhu, shred all the armor away, and just have a giant threat. Yeah,
HotMEOWTH still has both executes available to him, though, right? So
it's the number of cards in hand.
Sure.
That is a bit of a worry. You know, eventually Pavel you could just play the numbers at a certain point.
And it'll be unlikely for HotMEOWTH to have execute and an execute activator.
Exactly.
And with that Ancient Shield Bearer already been played, now Cthulhu can threaten to actually remove all of the armor, deactivating the Shield Slam. That's a big pickup, though, for HotMEOWTH. That Sylvanas is absolutely crucial.
Yep, he's going to hold.
Pavel now has the ability to kind of go all in if he wants to and remove all of the armor so he beats Shield Slam, but he walks into not only execute but also brawl by doing so.
This is an interesting situation where Pavel's so close to being able to get something done. The both Ancient Shield Bearers being gone, I think, is a big deal as well because of the armor reload. He's got to worry about the Sylvanas, though.
I mean,
I think he's forced to wait.
If you remove all the armor, Sylvanas isn't a problem. They can't shield slam their own Sylvanas with no armor. One's been used, right? No, neither has been used.
What the Pavel used a shield block.
Yeah, Pavel used a shield block. So neither shield block's been used, but still, it's 24 damage on the Cthulhu.
That's the game plan. He's already drawn cards. If that gets disrupted, he's dead.
He's all in, it looks like.
He's going for it.
All in.
24 damage is coming from Cthulhu this turn. And HotMEOWTH currently does not have a way to swing this. Pavel, he says, if you've got a perfect range in 4 cards, you've got me.
I think one of the factors in is the fact that the brawl is absolutely huge.
I think you play the Harrison first, too. You need maximum percentage here.
Yeah, I would like to see it.
Well, it's 33%. I would like to see him think about that for a while as well. Brand's going to win.
That's also kind of scary, though. There's a Twin Emperors.
But Pavel, his body language, he's shifting right now. He feels nervous. Did he go for this too soon?
He did go for a really weird line of play this game.
It's very incongruent with what his opening was. His opening spelled getting to Brand Doomcaller.
Yeah, drawing to it first, and then he kind of went all in with this play and got a little punished, but not like the big punish like you'd imagine. And now he has the ability to reload with Twin Emperors and keep pushing on this game plan. But he's going to take it slow.
Wants the armor instead.
This is an interesting shift in game plan. I'm very curious about this. He just saw the brawl get exhausted.
And he saw it from the right side as well. And he saw that it was drawn that turn.
Yeah. That's very interesting. And he wasn't playing around Brawl, so he couldn't have expected a Brawl to be in HotMEOWTH's hand. The odds that HotMEOWTH has a Brawl is also lowered because he Emperored very specific cards, because that's what you have to do in this matchup. You try and get your Shield Slams, you try and get your Brand, Doomcaller, and Cthulhu. So he knows those 3 cards on the far left are Emperored cards, which lowers the odds of them actually being a Brawl. I say
he'd be getting 12 damage with Twin Emperor if he'd have played it.
Yeah, and Sylvanas wouldn't be contesting it either. So yeah, this is literally half as much damage and makes it awkward against Sylvanas.
Look, I'm still going for Twin Emperor here.
I think that's pushing it, but I mean, it commits to the line of play that you've committed to. You're not winning the long game. He's going to make 3 Cthulhu's. Yours is dead. So
exactly.
You still have the Doomcaller, which can bring back the 1 Cthulhu, but you have half as many Cthulhu's as your opponent.
You've got to kill him.
I agree with you. I think when you commit all in, you commit all in, but Pavel's just doing this weird sort of dance where he's not completely all in, he's just almost all in.
Now that being said, HotMEOWTH's at 17. I don't know about you, my point's at 17.
Pavel's at 80.
I'm adding 12 damage to the board. I will rely on the Doomcaller.
But he played around Brawl last turn, so you have to be consistent, play around Brawl this turn as well, right? He thinks there's a Brawl there. Something has told him that, and he's going to continue to play around it.
Why didn't he play around it with the Brand Cthulhu then?
This is pretty sick. HotMEOWTH gets to take a Brand, and then gets to Doomcaller. So he's getting the Brand Doomcaller combo off without even using his own Brand.
His Cthulhu's not dead, though.
Oh, right. What am I talking about?
It's a long day of casting.
It's a long day. Sure. But still, a Brand is a pretty big threat to have out there on the field for a Cthulhu Warrior for sure. So Pavel going to most likely clean that up immediately.
And now he goes for the Twin Emperor.
He's playing around Brawl. It really just has to be that. Fool's Bane drawn for HotMEOWTH. He's not really in a great position to face tank a lot of damage.
No,
but
indeed he's not. This is in a decent spot to Harrison Jones, I think.
Yeah, drawing cards is definitely good for HotMEOWTH at this point because he has to get towards that Cthulhu. He has to get his Cthulhu dead and then add 2 to his deck before Pavel can really do that.
Honestly, he doesn't have that much more to worry about. Like 2 Ancient Shieldbearers gone, Emperor's gone, Twin Emperor's gone, Cthulhu's gone, Brand's gone, Sylvanas is gone, Justicar is gone.
The only thing that's left to worry about is really the Doomcaller. So as long as the Doomcaller doesn't pop up out of nowhere, then he doesn't really even need a lot of this single target removal that he has remaining.
Justicar shows up.
Okay, that's really important.
That's
tanking up.
Big deal. I mean, outside of Doomcaller, this Twin Emperor is basically it. A Gorehowl?
The Twin Emperor gets to pick up some sick value trades if Pavel wants to take it.
There's another Cthulhu's chosen. There's a Ravaging Ghoul.
Yeah, just all small minions remaining on Pavel's side. He had that aggressive start. He had all of his big stuff in the early game, and he got close. They got HotMEOWTH down to 11 health, but not quite enough to finish the job yet. He just needs to find that Doomcaller, and once he can do that, he can really start, pushing initiative again.
Again, you can look at the life total and go, HotMEOWTH's at 11, Pavel's at 84. What matters is the last threat.
Yeah,
the piece of repetitive damage will quickly add up.
It's whose 30 cards beat the other guy's 30 cards at the end of the day, because both players have nearly infinite life, and this is a pretty huge brawl.
This is how far behind Pavel feels. He feels like he needs to win the brawl, loses immediately, and HotMEOWTH's left with a Ravaging Ghoul. Now the tank up begins for him. There's no Sylvanas on the other side. He's free to use Cthulhu if he wants to. That's exactly where he'll go, and Pavel is in a heap of trouble.
Yeah. Pavel does get a minion to start applying some pressure back onto HotMEOWTH, but 7 cards remaining for Pavel. Still looking to try and find that Doomcaller to get towards his second Cthulhu to try and close this game out, and 9 cards remaining for HotMEOWTH. He already has the Doomcaller, so he could, even if he wanted to, just immediately add the Cthulhu to his deck if he feels like he's under pressure enough, but I think he has the time.
if he's been at all keeping track of the cards in the build, which that Ravaging Ghoul tells me that he has been with that attack, I think he feels like he's got plenty of time.
Yeah.
So he's just going to take it slow.
I agree, yeah. Pavel's completely exhausted out of threats besides the Doomcaller, which is going to bring back one Cthulhu, and HotMEOWTH is sitting there with the answers to those two problems. You know, you have the Shield Slam for the Doomcaller, and then the Execute for the Cthulhu, and then Pavel's out of stuff. So HotMEOWTH should win this game.
He's
very
way ahead in fatigue, too, and there's the Brand. So Brand, Doomcaller is the play this turn. HotMEOWTH's at 13, but he's not going anywhere.
Yeah. You only need 1 health to win a game.
I'm curious how much the extra card that Pavel is set behind at the beginning influenced this line of play. Like if HotMEOWTH's on the coin this turn, how does he, or on this game, how does he play it?
Yeah, that's very true. I think Pavel would have played totally differently, you know, going first in this matchup, and that's one of the things about this matchup. At the highest level, first or second is such a huge disadvantage when the matchup is just pretty much exactly card for card similar deck lists. A few changes here or there, but it's going to go to fatigue, and you're just going to lose if you're going second.
Yeah. HotMEOWTH even free to play the Acolyte here because he's that far ahead on the fatigue race.
Sure.
He's got 2 extra Cthulhu's. He just wants to find them.
Yeah. Having an extra Cthulhu is a pretty big deal.
There's the Doomcallers that will add a Cthulhu to the build for Pavel, but another Execute gets drawn.
There's the Cthulhu comboed with
That's
the Brand.
36 damage.
Yeah. Absolute monster. Life total switched around pretty quick.
Oh, Pavel's still 51.
Yeah, I mean, he's still got a lot, but it's starting to close the gap anyway.
Yeah, he's got to find the Cthulhu. He's got to have it stick. HotMEOWTH's hand will not let it stick. This game is over. HotMEOWTH's going to take this one 3-1. It's going through the motions at this point.
Yeah, he just has the removal. As long as he holds on to this removal, there should be no way that he can lose this game. Oh my gosh. There's another 36 damage Cthulhu.
There are no longer any HotMEOWTH Cthulhu's.
Yeah, he got them all out of the way. Maybe if all 18 hits face.
He's not even
gonna play it. He had a chance for lethal.
It is so many opportunities to take it down with Shaman, and he has got to be feeling good after that last game because he put on a clinic.
Yeah, he really played that matchup well. He was going first, so that's kind of the reacting side to the Cthulhu Warrior mirror, and he was able to just stop all of Pavel's aggression even after the 24 damage Cthulhu combo coming in from Pavel's side.
Yeah, recovered from 11 and just turn after turn. Eventually he got control, and it was all business afterwards. Pavel, he's got Mage, Shaman, and Warrior left to win with, and the Cthulhu Warrior builds I feel like are operating pretty strong against Shaman in particular.
Sure.
I think that his Tempo Mage is going to do a great job having a little bit of extra gas in the 6-drop, pretty much playing a standard Tempo Mage game outside of that. It's the Shaman versus Shaman matchup that one can go either way.
Well, and I mean, just 3 chances with Shaman is usually pretty good. Eventually, Shaman draws nutty and gets stuff done. But specifically the way HotMEOWTH has teched out his Shaman deck, I believe he anticipated Shaman potentially being a target from a lot of players. So we see things in there that make it really kind of explosive. You have, you know, your Ragnaros for the crazy chance to win off that. You got Barnes, which makes your deck harder to target because occasionally Barnes RNG throws its way. And then you have Bloodlust in there, which occasionally can just sneak a win. So he's designed the deck in such a way that it's very difficult for the opponent to kind of hard counter it with all of their decks by giving it all of these kind of inconsistent but powerful outs.
And that's an important facet to have.
Yeah, if you anticipate your deck getting targeted, that's the best way to build it.
Just get them sometimes.
Yeah. So it'll be interesting to see. Maybe HotMEOWTH even this game can connect a decent curve, get that Bloodlust in there, and just take care of Pavel's Cthulhu Warrior before he can get towards those Ancient Shield Bearers and such.
And he's got an uphill battle, though, to get to that point.
Sure.
Pavel has the kind of hand that can really dismantle this. It's going to start with Cthulhu's Chosen, perhaps, it looks like. Ravaging Ghoul was certainly, I think, the setup coming into this turn, but Cthulhu's Chosen going to be a bit of a change of game plans here as Cthulhu moves up to 12 power. And that is the Lone Feral Spirits in HotMEOWTH's build. So this is the start of the important turns, where if Pavel can snowball this in his favor, it's hard for HotMEOWTH to get back on the board. He's got he's got 2 copies of Lightning Storm, but Cthulhu not really that vulnerable to Lightning Storm. There at times it is because there's so much spell damage, but for the most part, he needs to take the lead and keep it.
Yeah, he needs to be getting as much chip damage as possible on these early turns. He's sneaking through a bit here and there, but not as much as he'd like to, just because Pavel's, you know, just a super powerful start. You can see him here, just when Cthulhu Warrior's ahead on board, it's very scary because Cthulhu Warrior's a deck with some of the best late game in all of Hearthstone.
Yep, and to get to that point, it's got some of the weaker early and mid game in all of Hearthstone.
So when it's ahead with the weaker earlier mid game,
you're in trouble.
Yeah, it's not good. Oh man, one saving grace that HotMEOWTH has though is this Harrison Jones could potentially line up onto a Gore Howl.
I was just about to talk about that too. Like, the story is it's kind of writing itself up right now.
Yeah. If that happens, that could be the tempo swing that HotMEOWTH needs to kind of recover this shaky early game.
I mean, Harrison Jones has been a big inclusion for him. He's got it in 3 of his 5 decks.
I mean, it makes sense. He's not banning Shaman, he's instead banning Druid, and Harrison Jones is good against almost every class besides Druid that's popular in the current meta.
It's the Gore Howl.
This is a big risk coming out of Pavel's side, and it's really going to hurt him here. Harrison Jones is coming right down.
Now, the thing about it is the follow-up. The follow-up is almost just as important as this piece, and that was because he was behind in the early stages.
Does he commit the thing from below? Does it set up lethal to commit the thing from below? How much damage is Bloodlust? 12, 15 damage from the Bloodlust alone, 20 with Harrison Jones, 23 with the other minions. And then another 5 from thing from below, so that's 28 damage represented there by HotMEOWTH from just the Bloodlust alone. And Pavel doesn't have the Brawl.
He doesn't. And if he plays Ancient Shieldbearer, he's not shield slamming. He's going for Revenge Execute. Don't blame him for this one. Yeah. Shut down the board position as much as possible. He knows Bloodlust is in the build. Yeah. This is the direction he has to take. And now that HotMEOWTH has seen Execute, I think he's ripping this Ragnaros.
Oh, yeah. When your opponent spends the entire turn reacting to the board to play around Bloodlust, that plays right into Ragnaros.
And that's 8 damage.
Yeah, and with the Execute gone, the Shield Slam is going to get deactivated by just the face damage, so...
But he's got Ancient Shieldbearer.
He's got the recovery mechanism, so he can stabilize this.
And that's the swing that this deck has. You try to pressure it turn after turn. If it has the tools to stabilize, it is incredibly good at doing just that.
Yeah, yeah. Even after this crazy amount of damage that HotMEOWTH's been putting out, Pavel's still at a comfortable 26.
That's not a bad one. Honestly, that may prompt a Hex here.
Okay.
I think I like pushing for 5 and then hexing.
I can get behind that. Yeah, I think that's a good play.
The Manatite Totem is kind of his win condition right now. He needs to draw a lot of cards.
Sure. One of the reasons why I think I really like that play, aggressively hexing there, is because there's no Brawl in your opponent's hand. At least that's the read I would put on Pavel's hand right now, just by how he was answering after the Gore Howl was removed. So I heavily anticipate something like that. But
the Taunt Totem, I think, really changed this.
Sure.
It says, the attack's occupied anyway, I don't have to use my Hex. I've got a Lightning Storm in hand. He's going to have to play another minion alongside of this. Maybe I get more value that way.
That's understandable. More life gain drawn for Pavel. That could allow him to potentially stabilize.
This is turning into a battle of resources, though. It's been very quickly so.
How much damage is Bloodlust plus Lightning Bolt? It's getting up there. Bloodlust only, 12.
9 after the attack.
9 after the attack, yeah. So 9 damage.
13,
not even
17,
close to
18, 19, 20, 21 total damage this turn.
Okay. That's the Flame Tongue.
He's getting there, though. And, I mean, if he Lightning Storms and just plays Flame Tongue, that's a lot of damage that he's representing turn after turn.
Yeah. It wouldn't be surprised to see him just play Flame Tongue just to guarantee that the Bloodlust is going to be a lot of damage in the following turn.
Lightning Storm's not getting much better. And you've got a second one anyway.
Gonna hold back the Flame Tongue just because it gives the War Axe a lot of value on Pavel's side, but I wouldn't have minded, honestly, just because of how much damage it represents. Because it saves another minion for the Bloodlust.
I don't think he has to shield slam this Barnes here. I think he has climbed out of the danger zone in terms of life total, and this is where the resource battle begins. It's been HotMEOWTH turn after turn just dealing so much damage. He's still so far away.
It's a lot of damage. 29 now. With a spell power roll, gets up there to 31. Not quite enough mana to be able to get it done, and it's just a little bit out of reach of the damage-wise. Close.
I count. Almost. Oh, he's overloaded.
Yeah, he's overloaded, which is the issue, right?
Wait a minute.
But he can fire the bolts this turn if he wants.
That was 10 from the bolts, 12 from the Bloodlust. Hang on, did he just miss lethal?
No.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
28 damage. He had 10 from the bolts, 12 from the Bloodlust. That's 22, 23, 25, 26, 27. He was 1 damage off. Wow. This is dangerous for Pavel. He needs an AoE spell.
Yeah, having no brawls this whole game, HotMEOWTH was very aggressive in the early game, and he was able to kind of identify if Pavel has a brawl or not. And as soon as he found that there wasn't a brawl, it's been just all gas on the table since then, and Pavel still has not been able to top deck the brawl that he's needed to really stabilize, but he's hanging in there.
He's got another 10, 14 health coming this turn. The thing about it is he hasn't shield slammed this Barnes for multiple turns, and it has been hitting him turn after turn.
Yeah, he's been trying to save it for a higher value target, and he'd like to continue doing so if possible, but it gets really scary because HotMEOWTH could just bloodlust down all of this armor, and then your shield slam can't hit a higher target anyway. And you have to fairly put HotMEOWTH on bloodlust by now. Those cards have been sitting there dead for a while, and he's been playing so aggressively.
19 damage available for HotMEOWTH, so once again, just a couple points off. I'm feeling the Hex.
Oh, yeah, most
and this
definitely.
is why he's slowed down. Do I want to attack and then Hex? Do I want to Hex then attack?
It's always scary, the Hex, just because if Cthulhu comes out of nowhere, suddenly you don't have the Hex for it. It can get out of hand very quickly. But you have such a great aggressive hand to go for it.
Just look at HotMEOWTH.
Yeah.
I mean, this is the big moment. He's fought so hard the entire game to get to this point. And he still has to take risks.
Yeah, there could be a brawl drawn at any time by Pavel, and then after the brawl could be, you know, brawl into Cthulhu or
Revenge is kind of working right now as well.
Yeah, Pavel just has one top deck, one good AoE out of the, you know, he's got 1 Revenge left, 2 brawls and a Cthulhu, 4 cards. They could really just flip this game up on its head.
I like the Hex.
I mean, one of the other choices there was also just bloodlusting and getting in the damage now, knocking off the armor, trying to get in the damage before one of those sweepers comes out, because every turn you wait is getting more and more likelihood that one of those sweepers gets found.
Pavel now is in a tough spot. These are weak.
Yeah.
He's not shield slammed yet. That Barnes is dealt like 15 damage.
Yeah, but he's been hoping to draw the AoE.
Now he's shield slamming it.
Yeah, but he wanted to draw the AoE. He doesn't want to waste resources.
He could have had 15 more life.
But at the cost of wasting a very, very premium removal, he was
12,
waiting.
13, 14, 15, 16. 16 is the damage that HotMEOWTH has right now.
Yeah, Pavel at this point knows that there's Bloodlust and has been actively playing around it every turn.
Just look at HotMEOWTH. Doesn't know what to do.
He doesn't want to extend, but he feels like he wants to keep the pressure going, try and get closer to that Bloodlust.
The Mana Tide. Another card.
Gotta make him try and top deck.
And this is fully into Bloodlust zone right now. Pavel has to draw help right now.
Yeah. This could be it.
It's not it.
Doesn't get it. Oh, man.
He can remove 2 minions from the board. That won't be enough. HotMEOWTH going to take the set 4-1 over Pavel.
Yeah.
Aggressive play in the right situations, conservative play in the right situations. HotMEOWTH has played this set fantastic.
Yeah, I didn't know too much about HotMEOWTH going into this set, but I'm really rooting for him now. He really killed it this series.
He's been one of the best performers, I think, of both of the days of play that we've seen so far.